New York Liberty 93, Las Vegas Aces 85. The Liberty are the first two-time Commissioner's Cup champions in WNBA history. But Fever Nation, as big as that game was, it is not the story MaddyG needs to talk to you about first today. Because while the Liberty were winning a championship at Barclays Center and Commissioners Kathy Engelbert getting booed, a Phoenix Mercury assistant coach was on social media using Michelle Obama's words, specifically the words Michelle Obama used to shame bullies, to defend the player who kneed Caitlin Clark in the groin and put her fist in Clark's throat. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Clarrkin Off Time. I'm your host, MaddyG, and we have receipts today on every single thing. Let's get into it. Let's start with the game because it was genuinely outstanding basketball, and Fever Nation deserves to know what happened. New York Liberty 93, Las Vegas Aces 85 final at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. The Liberty are now the first team in the history of the Commissioner's Cup in 6 years of the tournament to win it twice. History made. Here is how it played out. The Liberty jumped out and led by as many as 17 points in the third quarter. Sabrina Ionescu was back, and she finished with 26 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a record for the most points ever scored in a Commissioner's Cup championship game. And Breanna Stewart added 25 points and 11 rebounds and was named the game's MVP. Then Las Vegas went on a run. The Aces outscored the Liberty 25-14 in the third quarter. And with 7 minutes left in the fourth, they actually took the lead 71-69. But New York responded immediately, going on a 15-2 run to take back control. Ionescu hit a dagger three-pointer with 17.7 seconds left to seal it, and that was that. One significant caveat for context. Las Vegas played this entire game without A'ja Wilson, who tweaked her right ankle in Sunday's win over Chicago. Now, Jackie Young was extraordinary, 31 points, 25 of them in the second half, and almost single-handedly brought the Aces back. But without Wilson, it was ultimately too much to overcome. This game does not count toward either team's regular season record, and the Liberty earned a $500,000 prize split, $30,000 for each player on the winning team. But the most memorable moment of the night at Barclays Center had nothing to do with basketball. When Commissioner Kathy Engelbert stepped up to the microphone to present the trophy, she was immediately drowned out by boos. The booing started the moment she grabbed the mic and did not stop until she left the stage. She tried to push through. Her voice barely carried over the noise. This is not the first time. Last year at the 2025 WNBA Finals in Phoenix, fans booed Engelbert while she was crowning the Aces champions right after Napheesa Collier publicly called her leadership, quote, the worst in the world, with A'ja Wilson backing that claim publicly. Tuesday's boos came with specific context. Earlier that same day, Alyssa Thomas held a press conference and revealed she and her family have received death threats and online abuse following her suspension. Thomas also said the commissioner had not personally reached out to her. ESPN later confirmed Engelbert had texted Thomas privately before the trophy presentation and directed league security to coordinate with Phoenix's security team. None of that private contact came up when she had a microphone in front of a live crowd. MaddyG wants to be straight about something here. Nobody should receive death threats. Nobody. Not Caitlin Clark, not Alyssa Thomas, not any player in this league. What Thomas described is wrong and should be condemned clearly. But here is what the fans at Barclays Center were also reacting to. Engelbert released a full public statement addressing the harassment Thomas faced. Meanwhile, Clark was kneed in the groin, punched in the throat, left the floor with a back injury, is currently out with no timetable. And the commissioner's public response to that specific situation has been considerably quieter. Fans noticed the difference and they let her know it at a championship event on national television. 2 back-to-back marquee events, 2 rounds of relentless booing. The pattern is not a coincidence, and MaddyG is going to add one more thing. This is the league's own Commissioner's Cup. Her name is on the trophy, and the crowd booed her while she was handing it out. Here is the story that made MaddyG's jaw drop this week. Alyssa Thomas was suspended 1 game and fined $1,000 by the WNBA for pressing her fist into Clark's throat while Clark was on the floor. The league itself called it, in their official statement, recklessly making contact with her fist to the throat area. Those are WNBA's own words. And the Phoenix Mercury's associate head coach, Kristi, I believe it's Toliver, went to Instagram and posted a photo of herself with Thomas. And the caption she chose was, wait for it, "When they go low, we go high," attributed to Michelle Obama. Now, MaddyG needs to give you the full context of that quote because it matters. Michelle Obama said those words at the 2016 Democratic National Convention while endorsing Hillary Clinton and addressing Donald Trump's conduct during the campaign. The full quote is, "How we explain that when someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high." That quote, the quote Kristi Toliver chose, is specifically about not stooping to the level of someone being cruel. It is specifically about calling out bullying behavior. It is a quote about not being what Alyssa Thomas was caught being on that video. And a Mercury assistant coach used it to defend the player the league just officially described as having recklessly driven her fist into a player's throat. MaddyG is going to say this as clearly as possible. Kristi Toliver is a 2-time WNBA champion. She's a respected person in this league, and she took one of the most famous quotes about accountability and nonviolence in recent American political history and weaponized it backwards to frame a player who punched someone in the throat as the victim of bullying. Thomas drove her knee into Clark's groin and put her fist in Clark's throat after the ball was already gone and a foul was never called. Thomas did not apologize. Thomas's team posted a laughing cartoon of her fiance on social media, and now their assistant coach is invoking Michelle Obama. When they go low, we go high. Kristi, the woman who went low was standing next to you in that Instagram photo. Now let me give credit where it is due. Lisa Leslie, WNBA legend, 3-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, went on CBS Sports. We need to talk and said directly that Thomas she should have apologized. Quote, maybe if Alyssa Thomas would have even turned like, dang, my bad, I didn't mean to hit you like that. It's a different thing. But that's not what happened. She also said Thomas's moment on the floor was a bit much and that the league was right to punish her. She also called on all players to do better. Quote, players have to clean it up. We used to play in a way that you protected one another. Yeah, I want to play physical. I want to play hard, but I'm not out here trying to hurt you. That is the right take from a woman who played this game the right way for 15 years. Credit given, full credit. But MaddyG also has to address the other thing Leslie said. In a separate appearance, Leslie named A'ja Wilson, not Caitlin Clark, as the face of the WNBA. She said, quote, A'ja, I feel like I didn't edify her enough for what she's capable of, and went on to praise Wilson's decade of consistency, her 4 MVPs, and her championship pedigree. Here's where MaddyG lands on the face of the WNBA debate. A'ja Wilson is one of the greatest players this league has ever had. 4 MVPs, 3 championships, 9 seasons of elite basketball. She absolutely deserves every flower she gets, and this debate does not have to be a zero-sum game. The WNBA can have A'ja Wilson as its greatest active player and Caitlin Clark as its most transformative cultural force, and both things can be true at the same time. One is about basketball dominance. One is about what happened to the league's revenue, attendance, and media footprint when Clark walked through those doors. You do not have to choose, and MaddyG is not going to choose, but everyone knows where my heart lies. Mercury head coach Nate Tibbetts went in front of reporters and disputed how Stephanie White characterized the Thomas incident. He said, quote, this was not a thorough investigation. In my opinion, the people involved were not questioned at all. No one from the league called AT, our security team, or myself about what we felt like happened in this situation. He also suggested the league acted quickly on the suspension, specifically because the victim was Caitlin Clark, implying a different player might not have gotten the same response. MaddyG wants to engage this argument honestly before dismissing it. Tibbetts raises a real procedural point. If the WNBA's standard investigation process involves questioning the people involved, and that did not happen, that is a legitimate concern about process. And the question of whether a less high-profile player would have gotten the same retroactive review is actually worth asking. But here's where the argument, where it falls apart. The evidence in this case was video. Crystal clear, multiple angle video of Alyssa Thomas driving her fist into Caitlin Clark's throat while Clark was on the ground with the ball already gone. The WNBA reviewed that video. They called it a flagrant 2. The video does not change based on who you interview afterward. The question of what Thomas felt happened does not change what the camera showed happened. And here's the part MaddyG cannot let go of. Your assistant coach went on Instagram and used Michelle Obama's words to frame Thomas as the victim. Your team posted a laughing cartoon of DeWanna Bonner after Clark left with a back injury. And now your head coach is standing at a podium questioning the integrity of the investigation? What? The Mercury have not taken one moment, not one public word, to say that what Thomas did was wrong or to acknowledge that Clark was hurt. Not one moment. That is not a team questioning a process. That is a team closing ranks around conduct, the video already documented. And one more thing MaddyG needs to address before we close this out, because Fever Nation is asking about it. Thomas went to reporters on Tuesday and said she and her family have received death threats and racial slurs online since her suspension. She called what happened to Clark on the court a complete accident. Despite the video league reviewed to issue a flagrant 2, she also confirmed she never considered apologizing to Clark. Go figure that. Here is where MaddyG lands on the death threats claim specifically. And I'll say it again. Nobody should send death threats to anyone. If Thomas and her family genuinely receive them, that is wrong. Full stop. So, Stephanie White also herself called it unacceptable, specifically made the point that real Fever fans and real Clark supporters are not the same people sending hate online, okay, to her. MaddyG agrees with the distinction completely. I do. But here is also what is true. Thomas has not provided evidence of those threats publicly. She called a documented, reviewed, penalized play a complete accident without explanation. She said she never even thought about apologizing to the player she was suspended for hitting. And now she and her team are calling out the commissioner for inadequate protection. The same week, her assistant coach posted Michelle Obama's anti-bullying quote to defend her. You can condone harassment and notice the timing. Both things are allowed. Here's the latest verified information on Caitlin Clark's injury timeline. Clark has no official timetable for her return. Stephanie White has said, quote, no indication of how long she'll be out. The good news is the Fever have 8 days off before their next game, which is Sunday, and that is rapidly coming up. Now, it'll be July 5th at Las Vegas, and hopefully she'll have enough rehab, enough rest in what Sports Illustrated called this to be a critical window. Sports Illustrated also confirmed that Clark has been dealing with his back issue since the very first game of the season on May 8th, when she left the court multiple times to get her back adjusted in the locker room, and was seen using a heating pad and a back brace on the sideline. White described it then as an ongoing thing to manage her alignment. This did not start with the Thomas incident. This has been building all season. Whether July 5th comes too soon for Clark or gives her just enough time, that is the question every Fever fan is sitting with this week. And MaddyG will have the latest update for you as soon as it is confirmed. The Fever are 11-8, third in the Eastern Conference, behind Atlanta at 12-7. And New York at 12-8. The 8 days off are as much as a blessing for this team's death players as they are for Clark. Everyone gets rest, everyone gets healthy, and when they return on July 5th, the second half of this season begins in earnest. Sunday, July 5th, the Indiana Fever at Las Vegas Aces, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. BST for our UK Fever Nation. And it will be 12 p.m. on July 6th for our New Zealand Fever Nation. Las Vegas is 14-5. This is going to be a road game. If Clark comes back from this injury, ready to play at full strength, that is must-watch television. If Clark is not ready, Fever Nation is going to need Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Ty Harris, Monique Billings, and the rest of this roster to show once again that they can compete without her. Saturday's 111-87 win over the Sparks showed they can win. However, the Sparks were missing some of their key players. And, of course, we were missing Clark. July 5th in Las Vegas will show whether that win was a sign of things to come or a result of facing a shorthanded opponent. The Liberty R Cup champions. Ionescu reminded everyone who she is when it matters. Stewart won MVP and A'ja Wilson, even hurt, made Las Vegas competitive right until the end. But the image of this week that MaddyG cannot shake is a Mercury assistant coach captioning a photo of herself and Alyssa Thomas with Michelle Obama's words about not stooping to the level of bullies. Posted after the WNBA officially documented what Thomas did. Posted without an apology. Posted without acknowledgement that a player left the court hurt. When they go low, they go low. And then they quote someone who told them not to. Today's question: after everything the Mercury organization has done this week, the laughing cartoon, Tibbetts disputing the investigation, Toliver's Michelle Obama's post, do you think the WNBA should do more than a one-game suspension? Yes, more consequences, or no, it was enough? Drop it right now in the comments. I am reading every single one. Subscribe, hit the bell. New episodes Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. From 498 subscribers to wherever we go next. Fever Nation, you keep showing up, and MaddyG is going to keep bringing the receipts. This has been Clarrkin Off Time. Stay spicy.